Good almost evening, everyone. It's almost evening? Yes.
Yep.
Almost. Not quite. It's what you like to call Schmonday.
Schmonday.
Well, almost Schmonday.
Yeah.
In about 17 minutes will be Schmonday. No Limits, Mike and Stace, Unapologetically Unfiltered, episode 32.
32.
How about that? 32. That's a lot of chit-chatting.
I was literally just thinking the same thing. That's a lot of chatting.
Yeah. Sitting there Sunday, sipping on some bourbon. You got your sugar cookie, Southern Tier.
'Tis the season.
You put the tree up today. Looks very good.
Thank you.
All decorated, so.
Yep. A lot of work.
Yep.
Glad it's done. Now we have all this time to enjoy it. So, yeah.
Cats are enjoying it. Both of them were already sleeping underneath it.
Yep. Life is good for them.
So they, for whatever reason, they love to sleep under the tree.
It's hilarious.
I don't really understand it, but hey, as long as they don't get up in it, life is good.
Yep.
Little one, sometimes she gets up in it. No, but luckily she's little.
Yeah.
She doesn't knock it over or anything.
Right. She unflips it.
Yeah, she unflips it. So, the topic for this evening, we had put out on our social media for any of our followers, which thank you to everybody that did reply. We've gained quite a few followers over the weekend.
Yeah, so that's super exciting. Thank you all. Welcome.
Lots of listeners as well. So that's cool. We appreciate it. But we put out there, any topics, that we should discuss. One of our followers had mentioned for our podcast last week that we did about the resistance to Trump. So we did that. And then another one had mentioned to talk about all the people that should be tried for treason. So that's kind of what we're going to discuss today, the enemy within.
Yes.
We have a short list. There's
no long list.
The potential to be a very long list. So we just narrowed it down to some of the bigger names,
yes.
If you will, that everybody should have at least heard about. So those are the ones that we're going to talk about. And for me, the first name that comes to mind, just because of the post that we just shared yesterday, old Mike Pence.
Oh my God.
Traitor.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the 45-minute mark.
Quarter two.
I'm not muting it either. Everybody's going to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, old Mike. I don't know what the hell he's thinking, what he was thinking. He turned his back on Trump while he was still vice president. So he's the one that certified the election results. That's his job as vice president, is to certify the election results. I see the look on your face now.
Interesting.
You didn't realize that, did you?
No.
I like to spring these things.
You do. It only took days for them to count it last time, but we sure as heck knew the next morning this time.
Yep. So the stolen election, he certified.
Interesting.
How about that?
I would venture to say that perhaps his pockets got a little bit fatter after that.
Oh, I'm sure. So, there's him.
Wow. I'm just hearing about this now for the first time.
The Trumpy meme.
Love it. Literally one of my favorites.
That's great.
So
That's
good.
great. Yeah, he certified the election results. And like I said, that's the job of the vice president.
Sure.
In January. So UG.
That's gonna be so good. Oh my gosh, we'll be having popcorn for that.
Yeah, yep. So she'll have to certify the election results. But yeah, he did.
Okay.
stolen election,
Yeah.
and he certified the results. So that's why he should be tried for treason.
For sure. You can go ahead and take a seat now.
Yep. And quite frankly, I know he's done some talking. He was in the debates too, because he was running for president like anybody was.
Oh, at the beginning, yes.
Yeah, nobody's going to fuck about for him.
Honestly, he was so unremarkable that I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
And he's pretty much irrelevant now.
At this
He
point.
turned his back on the wrong person.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people that should be shitting bricks come January.
Yeah.
Because
Rightfully so.
yeah, you got Pence, he's a traitor. Jack Smith, special counsel that brought all the charges against Trump. That's going to be interesting.
That is going to be very
All of
interesting.
those are falling apart now. All the cases against...
well, because they weren't even real cases. Like, everything that they had against him was embellished or, to a point fabricated even. I mean, they really ran with it.
You know what?
And that was all, I feel like, to keep him down.
Mm-hmm. He just kept fighting. Kept fighting. And the American people saw it.
We did see
and
it.
That's why we're, the election turned out the way that it did. So.
Yeah, but I love the signs that we see, with his hand in the air and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and says like, "I'm fighting for the felon," or I'm voting for the felon. Hell yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. Yeah, because
we are
you can
deplorable,
only
garbage, and proud.
you can only fool us to an extent, right? I mean, because as much as you'd like to keep this on the DL, and I mean, we all saw what was happening. They tried to keep him down and keep him out of this for as long as they possibly could. And if they had anything to stand on, he obviously he'd be in jail right now.
Yeah, he's a convicted felon. There's more cases against him. The next name on the list is Creepy Joe. Good old Dementia Joe. It would be funny because between now and January, I would put money on that Joe is going to presidential pardon his kid.
Oh my God, yeah.
So he has said, that he wouldn't. He probably forgot already that he said that
I'm
he
sure
wouldn't.
he did, but somebody will bring it back up to him.
But
No doubt.
he's going to do that.
Yep.
It would be. I would actually have some respect for Joe if he would do what's right for the country and pardon Trump. Get that felony
wiped clean. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
He won't. He won't.
He won't.
Because they're too vindictive. I mean, they were the reason that this whole thing started to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And the fact that, I mean, we all saw, like, clearly there's something cognitively going on with him. And the fact that he's running our country it's disturbing, to be honest.
And he's still out there.
I know. He still has a couple months left.
Mm-hmm. He does.
There's clearly something wrong. I mean, and they all knew. That's why they did the little bait and switch thing there real quick with Kakalak. Threw her in there real quick, like, here. Like, they threw her out there like, oh, this is your new candidate.
Yeah. Well, she's next on the list.
Well, I got a lot of things about her. She should actually, yes, I see that she's only like third on the list.
Her laugh aside.
Aside from that, that in itself is...
We can't, we probably could figure out a way to try her for that.
Yeah.
Cackle. But that aside, she was in charge of the border.
And the insane word salad that we had to listen to for frickin' months. Look, Trump this, Trump that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I do have a little bit of stats written down here.
Hit me with the stats.
Okay.
Hit me with them.
So good old UG.
Not literally, please.
So concerning the border, there are more than 13,000 immigrants convicted of homicide or living outside of immigration detention in the U.S., according to ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
That's only the ones I know about.
That's what I'm thinking, and that's just current. I mean, to me, that number seems scarily quite low. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 13,000, but
with the millions of people that they let in,
right?
Just in that 4 years.
But I mean, if you think about it, statistically thinking, they're not all bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would assume that they're just like any population. There is just a small fraction of folks, but there were, gang members and
there are, and let's just stick with the gang members just for a minute, because I was watching Fox News and they were talking with Homan, is that his name? Trump's new border czar. He's a hardline guy. He'll get the job done,
sure.
Which it needs to be done. They asked him, like Venezuela, flat out came and said, "We're not taking them back." The fuck you mean you're not taking them back?
Yeah, like these are your people, bro.
You got no choice but to take them back.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to lose this, and this.
Right. That's the
so
thing.
they're going to end up having to take them
They're
back.
going to have to.
But we can say that they're not all bad, but when their own country won't take them back,
well, valid.
That's a problem.
No, 100% valid. That's for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, here, just take them. Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying that number, reading it, whenever I read that, I was like, that actually seems like a very low number.
Yes. I agree.
Also, I was curious to see how many people, because we heard of quite a few that had been just murdered, raped by these folks. And it's very difficult to find anything because they keep that on the DL for sure. And I could have really went down the rabbit hole. I didn't really put enough time that I should have, but it says, and this is what I found, and I found it, how they worded it was like, no evidence that 4,000 people are killed yearly by undocumented immigrants. Well, that number had to come from somewhere, right? So the fact that was the very first thing that popped up, I was like, I would venture to bet that probably is very accurate. And so she should be held 100% accountable for all of these people that were just let to traipse on over here and do these things. And not only that, right? But we're taking care of them. They don't have to work. They don't have to do anything. We are paying for housing. We are paying for food. We are paying for their phones. We are paying for everything. And essentially, we're paying for them to ruin our country. Get the fuck out. She should be held 100% accountable for that. And she should be, for every person that was killed or harmed in some type of way, when under these 4 years, when she was in charge of that, because she's never even been to the border, remember? Bitch, that's your job.
She's never been to Europe either.
And I don't understand what this question means, she says. I don't understand what that has to do with anything. Right. It's like, so that's your job? So that's exactly what that has to do with? So she should be held accountable for every single one of those people.
Every criminal action, homicide, burglary, every criminal action, she should be held accountable.
She should have to sit through all of those trials. And I mean, I'm assuming it's going to take a good bit of time. Don't care. She should be held accountable and then locked up. And don't put her in charge of anything there. I mean, maybe the food service, since she did work at the McDonald's, so she says.
You mentioned stats about the undocumented illegal immigrants. The case that's going on right now for Laken Riley, the Georgia nursing student, that was murdered. So I saw a thing, and it bothered me, and I didn't say anything to you about this. I'm going to say it to you now. Because one of the other names on our list, Jesus Christ, Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
For anybody that doesn't know, we refer to Nancy Pelosi as Jesus Christ because Joe Biden, in one of his interviews, said the only way he would step down from running is if Jesus Christ himself came down and told him to. And Nancy Pelosi had a conversation with him, and next thing you know, he's withdrawing.
So there you go.
So apparently she's Jesus Christ. Not to,
Right.
offend anybody.
That's just where
that's where that came from. Yeah. So you remember George Floyd?
Yes.
Okay. In protest of the cop, that was convicted of murdering George Floyd.
I read a book about this.
Protests. She took part in kneeling for it's like 8 minutes and 26 seconds, however long dude kneeled on his neck. She hasn't done nothing for no recognition, no acknowledgement, no nothing for this poor nursing student that was murdered by an illegal.
And what was she? She was just out jogging.
And and when this happened, Nancy Pelosi was still a member of Congress. You
know what fires me up so much? This is America. Mm-hmm. We're supposed to feel safe here. Mm-hmm. Right? Not saying that there isn't, of course there's crime here. You know what I'm saying? That would be ridiculous to say that there isn't. However, when you're letting it in mass numbers, knowingly, that's not okay. That's not okay at all. And if she walks away from this scot-free, that's complete bullshit.
I guarantee if you looked up belly band holsters, those would be the number one selling holsters for women after that. And it's a damn shame that a woman, going out for a jog
has to carry
to protect herself. In fucking Georgia. I mean,
yeah.
This ain't fucking New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember the Central Park murders?
Yeah.
I mean, this is.
It's not like inner city.
This ain't the 70s, in New York.
Right.
This is 2024.
Right. And the fact that, we, all are now looking over our shoulders now because she didn't do her job. No.
Well, I'm going to pause it. We're back from our brief pause. Somebody didn't want everybody to hear the bongs. The clock.
The Shmonday, the welcoming of Shmonday.
I'm pretty sure I can mute that. I guess I'll have to mute it since we're inside.
Yeah, we don't have. Yeah,
don't get the.
We can't mute the electric bug or the loud birds that do like to join us.
Who's next on our list?
All right, so
who are we going to chat about?
Next up, we have good old Obama, Barack Obama.
I was going to say which one.
Well, we're going to start with him, but don't think
which dude.
Oh my God. I'm just going to not even comment on that. I'm going to say we're going to start with him, but then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up with her.
And I use the term loosely.
Okay, let's start with him.
Obama. Well, he's been, it's funny to say that, he's been the brains of the Democratic Party for, since Trump won.
Right.
He's been the voice, back there running things.
Puppet master.
Well, guess what? Trump beat you.
Yeah.
Apparently, the things that you've been saying, to Creepy Joe and now Eugene.
You're slipping.
Definitely slipping.
Because honestly, if you're for the people. But it was clear. And the amount of red on the map was screaming how clear it was that we're done with your shit. We're done being offended. We have had enough. You have ran this country to the ground long enough. We're done.
I said before that he's the cause of a lot of the racism in this country. There's always been racism, but it's gotten exceptionally worse over the years, over the past decade, and it's because of him. And how can I say that? Well, guess what? He just came to Pittsburgh, campaigning for UG, and he started getting down on the brothers for not coming out and voting. What the fuck, man? So they turned against him.
As they should. I mean, it's not...
Don't insult people.
No.
But that seems to be...
it's really heartbreaking because we are all one.
What everybody says about the Republican Party is... all the negative that they spin about the Republican Party is just so very true about the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And we've experienced it on all of our social medias, with, how people are. But, Barack Obama out there, singling out the black men, telling the brothers that they need to go out there. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
They're doing that and then telling us women that, it's okay if you want to go ahead behind your husband's back. And okay. So you're singling them out, and then you're going to try and single us out because you think all we care about is killing our babies and lying to our husbands. That speaks volumes on their morals and values. I'm not here for that. I am not here for that.
I wonder how much he got paid to go out and have speeches for her.
Whatever it was, I mean, apparently all of her endorsements were paid endorsements.
How
Oprah,
about that?
Taylor Swift.
Yep.
I don't know who else.
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And you know.
Michelle Obama.
Well,
she went out there.
I'm sure she was paid for sure. But how many of these people, which is absolutely hysterical, that I think how many of these people that were paid to go out and endorse her, sing for her, entertain people for her, whatnot, and then secretly maybe voted for Trump behind her back. I love that so much because it happened.
I put money on it that Biden voted for Trump.
100% Pappy Joe went in there and voted for Trumpy, for sure.
Yep.
That's fabulous. Oh my God.
I know you got something to say about Michelle.
So talking about how so if you look at our country, you have before him and then after him. And never should you want to, why would you want to fuck up your own country? Why would you want to do that, right? But he has clearly done it for a multitude of years now. And he got her on board. Well, her mission apparently was school lunches. And let me just tell you, she didn't do a good job at all. I get that you want our kids to eat healthy, and now they will. Once RFK gets in there and he works his magic, we're all going to be healthy. But in fact, what she ended up doing was having our kids eat trash, less food, and they were hungry. In fact, my kids packed most of the time, so fuck you, Michelle, because my kids wouldn't even eat your trash. Whole grain, whatnot, but it was very small portions. It was down to calories per week. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. All I'm saying is I saw the change, and it wasn't for the better. It was not for the better at all. These kids are in school. They're in school all day. And what they ate for lunch some days was a full good lunch for them, but other days was not because of the calories, right? So let's say one day was more, one day was less. All I'm saying is, looking back, that was her contribution, if you will, and she missed the mark. So she screwed that up. So essentially, they've screwed everything up. So thankfully with Trump and the new Dream Team, they are going to come in here and undo everything that these fucks have messed up for the past however many years.
Yep.
So their time here is done. Anyways, that's all I had to say about her. Like, I just wanted to throw that out there about her because I'm not a big fan.
No. Then we have Comrade Cheney. Liz Cheney. It's funny. I saw I can't remember the person's name. We're trying to say that Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian spy.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
So if anybody is, it's Comrade Cheney. I don't know. Her and her dad, Dick Cheney, they endorsed UG. So they went out there and, Donald Trump, bad man. UG, good woman. What the fuck, man?
It kind of makes you wonder because they all have an agenda. And to a point, I assume, because Trump was not a politician prior to...
He still isn't, which is the funny thing.
It's great. But just saying, he's not a politician. Of course, now going into it, he's already done this job for 4 years.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, right? But I feel like they all have an agenda. Republican, Democrat, especially if you've been in there as long as these folks. And Trump goes against that. And they don't like anybody that goes against the grain or questions their intentions.
She was on the January 6th committee. So there you go. I'm glad she left the Republican Party. Go, be with
be with the people that you fit with, because clearly that's where you belong.
But you're right; they don't like, and I know there's probably more on the list. But,
sure.
Like the list could go on and on. And
yeah,
on. We could talk for hours.
For sure.
About all the people on the list. But you're absolutely correct. They do not like anybody that goes against the grain.
Right.
So they don't like Trump. They don't like a lot of Trump's picks. I'm still, skeptical on the Elon thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Vivek's starting to grow on me. I know you like Vivek.
I have liked Vivek since
he's starting to grow on me.
He,
I do like...
Because for as young as he is, he's like, he knows what he's talking about. He is so well-spoken. He's very engaging. I think that he'd be amazing for our country as well.
I like him, and for the new borders are for the intelligence... Tulsi Gabbard, I'm good with that pick. Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. I don't know. I don't know enough about him.
Let me just interject. I too don't know enough about him, but let's also say prior to knowing about
Gabbard.
No, J.D. Vance. We were skeptical about him too because we hadn't really heard enough.
I was down on J.D.
And I'm telling you, the first time, I think the first time that I really, was it the first time I heard him speak was the debate?
Yes.
And within, the first 2 minutes, I was like, he just won this for Trump.
Yep.
Trump knows what he's doing. He spends time with these people.
He does. I just...
You have to trust him, you know what I mean?
I know. So there's this... investigation into Gaetz that's going on. And because he resigned from the House, the investigation stopped.
Okay.
And the investigation accuses him of having sex with a 17-year-old.
Ooh.
They're talking about subpoenaing that, and it's a bipartisan group that's investigating
sure.
it. So there are Democrats and Republicans.
Right.
I would like that to be made, a little more public. So
right. They need to be transparent.
Yeah. Great word, transparent. They do. And based off of that, then I can form my opinion on him.
Right.
But it's funny. I forget her name, but he chose somebody for the job that Pierre has. Curly hair. Her. Whatever the
Is she
hell her
like
name
speaker?
I forget the exact title, but he chose somebody.
Yeah.
And they made it a point to say that she's only 27 years old. And I'm like, okay. So we're already trying to...
Wait a second. So can I...
Go.
So, okay. So also, and I don't typically, really support the Democratic side, what have you. However, being a little bit more on the middle, so Sarah Innamorato, however you say her last name, she's young too. Mm-hmm. And when she first got in there, I was like, oh my God, like what's this even going to look like? I don't know. I mean, some things that she's done, I'm kind of like, but then she's done quite a few things where I was like, you go, girl. Yeah. So I feel like having younger people is a good thing because times are changing. Things are constantly moving, changing.
They're not tainted either.
True.
They're not the career politicians where they're tainted.
Right.
So I do agree. I don't think, having the 27-year-old going, she'll be the one, the press secretary, she'll be the one, doing the interviews for him.
Yes.
So, I'm okay with that. But like I said, I'm definitely okay, with her. I can't, she works for Fox News now. She was, that same position for Trump, the blonde on there. I can't remember her name. But she's working for Fox News now.
Yeah.
So, I'm okay with that. His other picks, is it Pete Heggs something, for, defense. Apparently they're all worked up about him, because he doesn't have any ties to anybody that has, the military contracts and all of that. So it's like, that's who I wanted in there.
Right. Right.
All of his picks are about, shaking things up.
Which is, I'm very excited about our future. The future of America. This is fabulous.
Yeah, because, the career politicians that you have, it's clearly not working. We're in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And in Pennsylvania, we have the Senate race that apparently is still going on.
Yeah.
We're about to waste $1 million taxpayer dollars on a fucking recount because Casey won't concede.
It's time. I mean...
The people have spoken.
Right. And he won't give it up. Typical Dem.
Even if there was a recount and he won by 1 vote.
Right.
You would think that he'd be too embarrassed to show his face.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think they feel embarrassed.
He thinks that he's been doing such a good job.
Then why would we vote him out?
We're going into a recount. How good of a fucking job were you really doing for the people of Pennsylvania, Bob Casey?
When it wasn't a landslide.
Not at all.
No.
You were doing so good of a job that you tried to spin yourself as an independent 2 weeks before the fucking election.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
Right.
No.
Yeah. No. And he also, and I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but he also wants all the votes counted. Even the ones that were, that came in that didn't have the proper date, weren't signed. The ones that were not, they weren't allowed to be counted, discredited. I don't know what
disqualified.
Disqualified, right. That's cheating. Mm-hmm. That's not okay. And if the people didn't fill them out right, they should have went and filled in their circles like the rest of us on November 5th.
This is something that we've never discussed before.
I'm excited.
This will be a difference between schools. Mm-hmm. So I know the environment that you grew up in school-wise. Mm-hmm. no environment that I grew up in school was.
Right.
Very different.
Correct. I was going to say we should elaborate for folks.
So, you were from the country.
Right.
And, well, point blank, I'm from the ghetto.
Right.
So very, very different.
Yeah.
I remember in school that it had to be in history class when we talked about voting and all of that. They actually gave us mock voter registration cards to fill out.
Oh, nice.
And taught us how to fill it out correctly.
Sure.
So that you were properly registered to vote.
Right.
And you turned it in, and the teacher actually, there were people that didn't fill out correctly, and they were like, you wouldn't be eligible to vote.
Okay.
So we actually went over that in school.
I remember actually in elementary school and then in high school, maybe it was civics, would that have been?
Yep.
But I don't remember exactly.
But it was
we definitely learned about the Republican Party. We learned about the Democratic Party. We learned about voting, because I do believe that we also did a mock voting.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so we learned about that as well in elementary school and high school.
I don't believe that's done today.
There are a lot of things that aren't. So let's discuss how the Department of Education is going to get shaken up as well.
Oh, it's going to be gone.
Because what we learned, like these kids aren't learning cursive.
Yeah.
They're not learning applied mathematics. They can't make change. These are real life things. Like you should know how to write in cursive. You should know how to read a recipe, how to write a check.
How do you sign your name if you can't write in cursive?
I think they do everything online. Everything. And I don't know, because you even sometimes when you use your card or whatnot, you have to sign. Do they just draw a line? I don't know what they do.
What happens when there's a fire sale? And I'll explain.
Okay.
So, I don't remember which one it was, but one of the Die Hard movies. And yes, the original Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I don't care what anybody says.
We watched it. Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie. And
that's that.
End of that, debate. It is a fucking Christmas movie. But I think it was the newest Die Hard.
Yeah.
The kid, I forget the kid's name. But anyway, they talk about having a fire sale. And what a fire sale is when you shut down the electrical grid for all the utilities at the same time.
Okay.
You crash America.
Whoa.
So, what happens if there's a fire sale?
Well, that just created a whole level of anxiety that I was unaware that there would be. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously.
Some of us would survive.
Some of us wouldn't.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'm...
I got your back. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Although being Gen X, we do know what it's like to survive without.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, but it is really a shame that these kids aren't taught what... But because you need to know, like, do they even still have home ec where they teach you to cook and they teach you life skills? I don't know. They teach you how to take tests. And we just look up the statistics of what we were prior to the Department of Education. Before that was a thing, we were like number one.
Yeah, in the Department of Education, if memory serves correct, was created in 1979. Prior to 1979, we were number one in the world with regards to education.
Sure.
Now, there's different reports out there, and each report is debunking the other report.
Yeah.
The highest that I've seen us in an overall is 13.
Yeah. Well,
13.
That's sickening. That is sickening.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And the fact that, our kids are older, so we didn't have this new mathematics that they're doing. I can't remember what it's called, but it's weird because they count by tens as opposed.
And they work sideways.
Yes.
What the fuck is this working sideways bullshit?
And so, like us, like let's say that, we do it how we're taught and they take it in, like even show the work. It's wrong. They tell them it's wrong. Even though they get the right answer because they didn't show their work with this new this new mathematical equation. It's wrong. It gets marked. I've never seen anybody do it by the tens. When you're trying to do math, you have a budget of whatnot, and you're in the grocery store. Essentially, you're just like, okay, I have $20. I'm going to get a carton of eggs. Well, before.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not, that just makes it, this is why they can't make change.
I never had to show my work.
This is insane.
If I could do it in my head, I did it in my head. I didn't have to show my fucking work.
Well, this is part of the new, because this was after my kids. Thank God my kids didn't have to do this, because I would have never been able to help them with this, because I was taught a different way than that.
And that's why, we need a shakeup in the government. And that's why, Trump is making the choices, that he's making. That's why we have RFK coming in.
So excited.
I'm very excited about that. Make America healthy again. I don't know. I'm hopeful. If he gets passes all the I'm losing the word right now. But if he
the betting.
The betting, yes.
Yeah.
He passes all the betting. And he'll be over the CDC. He'll be over the
Snaps.
FDA. My hope, with all of that, the most important hope that I have with all of that is that he unleashes the cure for cancer.
Because there is one.
Because it's fucking out there.
Well,
Big Pharma has it. The government has it.
We're going to do an episode on Big Pharma, because I get down the rabbit hole in this, and we are worth so much more to the government, sick and unwell, than we are healthy.
That's right.
That's why they put all these chemicals in our food. That's why they give us a medicine for everything. Take this medicine, take that medicine. When honestly, healthy, whole foods and exercise, just moving activity, is medicine. That is your daily medicine. If you keep your body healthy and well, and the government don't want that. And we're going to see, I have a feeling down the road, the Ozempic and Wegovy.
Yep.
There's going to be, because there is no quick fix. There's no such thing as a quick fix. And there's going to be, I'm sure, a lot of things that come out down the road, because we have no idea, because it's brand new, right? A lot of these people are on it for diabetes, whatnot. Now they're giving them to it. Healthy people, healthy individuals for weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then people with diabetes can't get it. We are going to do
We're going to do a whole thing. But yeah.
So we really have to watch what we say there, because we don't want Zucker Dick to suppress this episode.
Speaking of Zucker Fuck, he's on our list.
He actually does like to, and he admitted to inhibiting free speech.
No doubt, because spending some time on Facebook, reading a lot, sharing with our folks, and we've had quite a few things get flagged. Our page was actually restricted for like a month.
Yep.
And I don't remember exactly what it was, but they called it false information.
Yep.
Says who? Actually, even one of our podcasts was it pulled or restricted or whatnot?
Yes.
Also for false information.
Yep.
Regarding the Rhone.
Because it was our opinion on the Rhone.
And I do believe that we said prior to, or perhaps it was after, regardless, neither one of us are doctors.
Yeah, we even had to, on YouTube, we got flagged and had to take.
That's what we were talking about how when we also said that like neither one of us are doctors.
Right.
So essentially, our podcast is us sitting around chatting about current events. Sometimes it's just us chatting about something that we would sit around and chat about anyway.
Yeah, so free speech, apparently.
It's not so free.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I know we got into a lot there. We covered a lot. We touched on some things that we're going to talk about, in some future episodes. I want to leave you with this thought for a future episode. So, Clock's getting ready to do its thing. Well, do its thing real quick.
Okay.
But everybody, not everybody. So, Democrats and Big Pharma, they're all, coming down, trying to discredit, even the media, trying to discredit RFK.
I'm going to be researching this.
So, let us leave you with this thought. So, RFK, he's a vaccine skeptic. He's not an anti-vaxxer. He's a vaccine skeptic. The vaccines, that are given, do have side effects. So we're going to leave you with this. There's a lot of kids these days that are diagnosed with autism.
Mm-hmm. On the spectrum.
So what has changed? Because when I was in school, when you were in school, there was a handful in the school.
In the entire school.
Now it's a handful in every class.
Mm-hmm.
So what has changed? There's two things that have changed. Oddly enough, both will be over.
Yep.
So the amount of vaccines that are given. We were given, half dozen vaccines. Mm-hmm. Now there's like 30 vaccines.
Right. And our kids were maybe like 10, right? 10, 12. I don't know.
And then the processed foods. So.
And all the chemicals that we eat, drink.
Yep. All the chemicals that we eat and drink. So I'm going to leave you with that thought. Both of those departments, RFK would be over.
Yeah.
So with that, we will, discuss that in depth in a coming episode. So we definitely want to thank everybody for all of their support, their feedback that they've given us. All of our new followers, all of our existing followers.
Thank you for the topic ideas.
These are topic ideas.
We appreciate you.
It definitely gives us something to talk about. So I think with that, Mike and Stace signing off.
Everybody have a good week. Bye.